thank you very much for allowing me to come and celebrate this important day, Vietnam Human Rights Day. One thing that you may not know about Texas is that Vietnamese is the third most commonly spoken language in Texas. I think people don't know. We are a big and diverse state, and we welcome anyone who is seeking freedom and opportunity and to pursue the American dream. But it's an honor to be with all of you and to reflect on the fight for human rights in Vietnam, a fight that goes on and on. Your culture is woven into the very fabric of this country, and meetings like this remind all of us of the obligations we hold to each other. In Texas, of course, the Vietnamese community makes many tremendous contributions to our economy, to our culture, and to our diversity. The contribution to our economy and society is indisputable, and around the country as well. So many Vietnamese families do embody the American dream. But unfortunately, our countries still have a long way to go. And now, as we honor the 23rd Vietnam Human Rights Day, we remember that your family and your friends in Vietnam, there's not a lot to celebrate today. For decades, this group and its supporters have continued to raise awareness about the attacks on freedoms in Vietnam. This year, yet again, Vietnam ranked 175th out of 180 countries in the world in the World Press Freedom Index by Reporters Without Borders, which is one way we measure the status of human rights around the world, 175 out of 180. Of course, many of you here today understand firsthand what it's like to live in a country that is not free. Right now in Vietnam, forced to take orders from the Communist Party, Vietnamese journalists and bloggers are given a choice between safety and the truth, a choice no person should have to make. Last year, Vietnam surpassed every country but China to become the world's second largest prison for citizens. The punishments for telling the truth are extreme and severe. For example, one 5-year sentence was given to Nguyen, a citizen journalist who created an independent news website. What was his crime? Questioning the government. His assistant was also sentenced to 3 years in prison after what was described as an abnormal and unfair trial in Hanoi. Society cannot hold its leaders accountable without a free and fair press. And without accountability, a country cannot represent the needs of its citizens. Fortunately, here in America, we take pride in having a diverse set of opinions that are well represented across all spectrums of the media. And because of this freedom, we have the responsibility to help Vietnam rise in the ranks. Last year, I introduced, and I intend to introduce again, the Vietnam Human Rights Sanctions Act that would impose travel sanctions and restrictions on Vietnamese nationals who are complicit in human rights abuses against their fellow citizens. I plan on reintroducing that legislation soon. But now is not the time to be silent. We must all take a stand, and I know that's why we're all here today. I was pleased to see that later this fall, President Trump will be visiting Vietnam to discuss security issues, trade, and freedom of navigation with respect to the South China Sea. I'll continue to urge the President and his administration to use that opportunity to reiterate the United States' dedication to human rights and to tell the Vietnamese government that there are conditions to its entry onto the world stage and entering into improved economic and security ties with the United States, and those involve how it treats its own citizens. Certainly we have shared interests with Vietnam, including growth of our bilateral trade agreement and countering Chinese military power and aggressive moves in the South China Sea. But we can't continue to turn a blind eye to what goes on within Vietnamese borders. That means calling on Vietnam to release all political prisoners, respect human rights, and embrace more democratic ideals which we all hold dear. So as we continue to grow and improve our relations with Vietnam, we need to remain mindful of our values and the protection of human rights. That's the only way our relationship will become stronger, leading to positive change for both countries and the broader region. Thank you for your support and for courageously speaking out and for again coming to Washington to celebrate this important meeting. This meeting and this movement are vital to the fight for human rights in Vietnam, but not just in Vietnam, but everywhere around the world where human rights are being violated. I remain hopeful that by working together, the future will bring a free and fair Vietnam committed to democratic values. Thank you very much.
Please accept this plaque as a symbol of our gratitude.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Very much appreciate it.
I'd like to read it out loud.
All right, please do.
Presented to the Honorable John Cornyn, United States Senator representing Texas, author of the Vietnam Human Rights Sanction Act, in appreciation of your unwavering leadership for human rights in Vietnam, May 11, 2017. Thank you so much. Have a picture? Everyone from Texas?
Good.